Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Lily. I am so happy you're here with me. Happy holidays. In today's video, I am going to be making some Christmas themed little house envelope pockets. As many of you may know, I have a signature design little house envelope pocket, and I make these by using a plain number 10 size envelope, or you can also use a junk mail envelope. And because we are in the holiday season, I thought I would make a bunch of these. I like to include these in all of the junk journals that I made. And if you watched a recent flip through video, I show you how I use these in the junk journals. They become a floating pocket. I'm running low. I need to make a few more, and I thought I would bring you along to show you what this year's Christmas little house envelope pockets are going to look like. So this is a style that I made a few weeks ago. I'm going to be making a similar one. Some of the colors and some of the embellishments are going to vary just a little bit. And here is a sneak peek at what I'm talking about. So stinking cute. The bow is a little bit different. The background papers vary slightly, but overall they are very similar using basic supplies. Do you want to learn how to make these? Let me show you how. I'll meet you over in the Crafty Loft. Let's go! Making little house envelope pockets is one of my most favorite things to do, and each time that I create a new bundle of little house envelope pockets, I try to come up with new design ideas. I try to go through my stash and find new ways to use embellishments that I already have, or even make my own embellishments, just different things. It's all in the little details. I also don't want to overcomplicate the design. I want to make sure that if you are going to recreate these little house envelope pockets, that you can easily do it with items that you have in your own personal stash. These are really easy. I have been making these for a few years now, and they are made from a simple number 10 size envelope. And I've got an entire playlist showing you all the different styles that I have made. And I've used regular white number 10 envelopes. I've also used junk mail envelopes, both with and without the windows. I've used new number 10 size envelopes with a window, and also the Kraft envelopes that I am working with today. I like including one of my little house envelope pockets in every single junk journal that I make. And all I do is clip it to the very first page, and it becomes a floating pocket. I am working on a few more Christmas junk journals. I just released a few in my Etsy shop. As of right now, I think there was just one left from this last release. But I will be working on a few more and hopefully we'll have those up soon in my Etsy shop. I'll have a link to my shop in the description area below. I've got a ton of other types of junk journals, and each and every journal that I have in my Etsy shop will always include a little house envelope pocket. I'd like to show you that in today's project, I am going to use these Kraft envelopes. I love the Kraft paper, and these are also much sturdier than the white envelopes. They hold up the paper and the embellishments really nice, but so do all the others because I like to add scrapbooking papers and make the pockets nice and sturdy. I'm going to be using a couple of different dies for today's embellishments. This is one of my favorite. It's a window / door die. And then I'm also going to use a Tim Holtz die to cut out, or I've already done it off camera. I've already cut out the windows, and I've already cut out these wreaths with the different dies that, and I'll show you what the dies are, what the Tim Holtz dies are. And then the window / door die, I'll have that linked down below for you as well. It has become one of my favorite dies to use. I'm also going to use scraps of paper, and believe it or not, I try to use every single bit of paper that I have, especially all of these scraps. And these have a gold foil, so I will find a way to use these. I'm going to use a very standard hole punch and punch out like the little faux berries that you see on the wreath. I also grabbed a couple different types of pretty white trim that I think will look nice on the roof's eave, kind of mimicking snow or snowflakes. And then I'm going to use a lot of different scraps of paper. These are offcuts, leftovers from the junk journals that I've been working on. So go through your scraps. You don't need full-size papers to work on this. You can kind of piece your papers to create the background on your little houses. This is the Tim Holtz die set, the Thinlits die set that I used to die cut the wreath and also the bow. The bow, the red bow that you see on the little house envelope pockets, I made those. These are the envelope houses that I made off camera for the junk journals. But in today's video or project, I'm not going to cut out any of the red bows because I'm going to use a different bow. I'm going to use some little burlap bows that I found in my stash. But this is what I mean about use whatever it is that you have in your stash. You can also use regular ribbon or trim and make your own bows. I've done that in the past as well. I hope that my video inspires you to create your own little house envelope pockets with the items that you currently have. And it's really fun because you get to use your imagination and use things in different ways. The very first thing that we need to do is seal our envelopes. If you are using a brand new envelope, just seal the flap. I'm lucky with these that they have a little tape strip, and they're very easy to seal. If you are interested in these Kraft envelopes, I'll have a link for those in the description area below. I do have an Amazon storefront, and I'll have that link and down below for you. If you have any questions about anything that you see today, or you want me to point you in the right direction for any of these supplies or something similar, just let me know in the comment section, please. The next step after we seal the envelopes, we need to cut a sliver off of one of the ends of the envelope. Just a very, very thin sliver. All we're going to do is make an opening, and this is going to be the pocket. It's basically a long pocket that will eventually take the shape of a little house. And after you have cut that little sliver, I was going to work on 4 of these, but I decided for the sake of time to only work on 2 little envelope houses. I mean, the video is a little bit long as it is. So I was actually going to do 1, and I thought, oh, I'll just do 2, but I think 4 would have been just too much, though I have done it in the past. So now that I have cut the little sliver, the next step is to fold about, I want to say it's about 3.5 inches. So I'm going to fold the top half of the envelope right at the 6.5 inch mark. And this is what creates the roof, or the look of the roof of the little house envelope pocket. And you can kind of see now that it's beginning to take the shape of a little house. The next step, we are going to make a few cuts, and this will make it really easy to create the pocket that will be under the roof. I'm showing you here that I'm going to cut about 1/2 inch past that fold line. And that just makes it so much easier to reach into the pocket. So I'm just going to go about 1/2 inch past the fold line. I'm not even going to measure. I'm just going to eyeball it. The reason I'm eyeballing it is because I have been making these envelope houses for a long time. I have made hundreds and hundreds of them. So I can kind of guess where 1/2 inch is. And I'm just showing you here that 1/2 inch cut on the side. And now I am going to very gently pull it over to the right hand side, and it's going to stop right where the cut marks end. And then I'm going to cut the excess off. That little flap that is left behind reinforces that top edge and will prevent it from being too thin and tearing easily. I'm also going to add some extra reinforcement, and I will wrap washi tape all around that very top edge of the pocket. And you'll see what I'm talking about as we move on. I'm going to do the same thing with this one, except I'm going to mark it for you. So if you would like exact measurements, take your ruler and make a mark 1/2 inch under that fold line, just as I am doing here on the screen, just marking 1/2 inch. And now you can take your scissors and you'll know exactly where to stop so you don't go over that. If you do go past that and your cut is longer than, or it goes past 1/2 inch, don't worry about it, because we can remedy it with the washi tape that we're going to use to wrap all around that front, all around the pocket. I'll show you what I'm talking about as we move along. So now making those cuts right to that 1/2 inch mark. I marked it on the opposite side because I couldn't see it. It's because of the way that I'm holding the paper. It's actually very easy to do this when I'm not filming it, but so that you can see or have a clear view, I made that 1/2 inch mark on the opposite side of the pocket. Cutting the excess and saving those little pieces of paper for something else. And that little excess, that little flap, I'm going to glue it down. And it's just for added reinforcement. This makes it really easy so that when you add or remove the contents from the pocket, that little 1/2 inch gap between the pocket and the fold line just makes it easier so that you can add things to the pocket and then also remove the items. That's the only reason why I'm doing that. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. I'm showing you the way that I make mine. So you could see that pocket right there. And then I'm going to show you, there's the washi tape that I will be using to wrap all around that top pocket. Not only does it reinforce the pocket, but it also kind of gives more reinforcement to that little edge, especially where those cut marks were made. And that's why I was saying if you were to cut more than you needed to, the washi tape would remedy that. And now I am going to cover the facade or the front of the pocket. I'm going to use some of these offcuts, and I like using papers that will kind of look like the front of a house would look. I mean, they're whimsical little houses, so it's not going to look like a real house. So use patterns and designs that you like. My paper is, I'm pointing out, it is just a little bit shy of the width of the envelope, but that's okay. I'm going to fix it. If you don't have full sheets of paper to use, like these long wide strips, you can collage and paper piece to cover up the facade. But because I have all of these extra scraps of paper, I'm going to use the length to my advantage. I'm measuring the length of the pocket. It's about, remember where we made that fold? So it's about 6.5 inches, but I'm going to cut my paper to 7.5 inches. 1 inch longer than the facade of the little pocket, because I'm going to take that extra inch and fold it under to the back side of the pocket. Showing you will make more sense in just a moment. I'm using a glue stick, and I'm going to glue this down to cover up the front of that pocket. Notice how the flap of the envelope is also on the front side of the pocket, because I know that I'm going to cover it up with the scrapbooking paper. And this is where I'm just going to fold that extra inch in length to the back. This adds a little bit of decor to the back. I could have also cut it to the exact measurement of the length of the envelope, which is 6.5 inches. But folding it over makes the back look a little bit nice, adds a little decorative element. These are also little strips of offcuts, and I am going to add one of these thin strips of scrapbooking paper to the edge of the front of the little house, and that's to cover up. You know how I mentioned that my paper was just a little bit shy of the width, and this will actually kind of hide the fact that the paper was kind of not wide enough. And this is what I mean about paper piecing and collaging the front. You can use full-size sheets of paper if you want a solid look, or just use bits and pieces of scrap paper and collage it to the front of the pocket. And if you like the Kraft color, which I've also done in the past, you can leave it as it is. But having all of these really pretty Christmas and holiday papers, I thought it would be fun to be able to decorate my little house with these. Doing the same with the second piece of paper, and you could also see that it is just a sliver, probably 1/16 of an inch, smaller than the actual width of the envelope. And I will do the same thing. I will cover the front, and then I also left this one 1 inch longer than the front so that I can fold over that bottom inch. I don't decorate the back too much. You could. Once you start making your own little house envelope pockets, you can also collage and decorate the opposite side. The reason I don't is because it's a floating pocket, and you can actually do some journaling on the back. I'm going to add another little strip of scrapbooking paper to cover up that edge, and no one will ever know that my scrapbooking paper wasn't wide enough. These little house envelope pockets are more than just a floating pocket for your junk journals. They can also be used as a gift card in lieu of a traditional greeting card. Do you know what I mean? So let's say it's someone's birthday, or even Christmas or anniversary, or any special event, graduation, anything you want. And you would rather gift someone a handmade card. Well, you can make them a little house envelope pocket and then gift this instead of a traditional greeting card. You make it however you want, any theme that you want, and in the pocket you can add a gift such as money or a gift card or a nice little sentiment, maybe some jewelry, and you can just tuck that into the pocket. And then on the back or the reverse side, you can add your sentiment. And that would make a really, really nice gift. I've also made an advent calendar out of these little house envelope pockets, and I will have a video for you. I'll link that video in the description area below. I'll also have a lot of other relevant videos for you. But the advent calendar, I actually made it for Christmas 2024. And I made 20, did I make 25? I made 25 little house envelope pockets, and I put the date, the days 1 through 25 on the roof of the little house. Oh my gosh, they turned out so stinking cute. And then I attached them to beautiful ribbon with some holiday or glittery little clothespins. Anyway, they look so stinking cute. It looked like bunting, but it was actually a little advent calendar. Watch that video. If it's something that you would like to do, it didn't take very long to do it, so you could still do it for Christmas if you want. Excuse me, if you wanted to. I'm getting the hiccups here. So yeah. So now I'm going to take more of the little scraps of paper, and I am going to cover what is the roof of the house. My envelope is about 4 1/16 of an inch wide. And I'm cutting these scraps of paper by that width, but also by 4 inches. And I wanted to go about an inch over the fold line of the roof, so that again, I have paper, a little bit of that paper that will overlap onto the back side. Not only will it add a decorative element to the reverse side of the little house envelope pocket, but it also makes for a nice and cleaner fold at the very top edge, which is the very top of the roof. And then I smooth everything over, and you'll see what I mean when I refold that top roof. So I'm going to fold it, follow that first fold that I did. Make sure your little roof, your edges are all lined up, and then crease that. And see that top edge? It's now going to be nice and smooth at the very top of the roof. And then the back will have about 1 inch of overlap, which makes it look kind of cute. And of course, I am using colors and papers that coordinate. And this is now the shape of the little house envelope pocket. This is the most fun, the part where you get to decorate and add all of your little fun embellishments. I have made some that are so full of little embellishments. And then I've made some that don't have quite as many, but still look so stinking cute. I'm using this collage medium because it has that really fine tip nozzle. And I'm just going to glue that down. Those little doors open on that little window or that little door. And I've created other little house envelope pockets where I will open the door and tuck something right behind it. When you have time, I invite you to watch the entire playlist, because there are a lot of other little Christmas house envelope designs that I've made. I've also made little house envelope pockets for the fall season. I've made little bird houses. Oh, those are so cute. And then the very first video that I made, they were just whimsical, collaged, funky little houses, but I love those so much. I use jelly print papers for that. And then I've also made little beehive houses. I've made happy birthday houses. I've made gingerbread houses. I've made Halloween houses. I've made, what else have I made? I made some that were kind of Bambi themed with a cute little dough die cut. Just so many different styles. So much fun. This Tim Holtz die is, there are so many components to the wreath. but I'm only using one of the wreath layers. I think this one has 3 different layers for the wreath, but I don't I don't want it to be too complicated. So one of the layers is plenty. And because I'm not going to die cut that red bow, I decided to use these burlap bows that I've had in my stash for a little bit. I just recently went through all of my Christmas embellishments so that I could see what I have and so that I don't neglect any of all of these super cute embellishments. So I went through all of my Christmas things and just put them all out on the table, and I sorted everything out, and it was so much fun. All the stickers and bows and trims, just all the things, and that was fun. These have a little bit of wire, which is holding the little burlap trim together. I am cutting it, but only leaving a tiny little bit of that ribbon on there because that's what's holding it together. But those extra wire strands I just cut off. I'm now going to punch out some of these little faux berries. I'm using this gold foil paper because of the gold foil. And I'm just using a regular, just a standard office hole punch. Now, in the Tim Holtz die set, there's actually a little die to cut out the berries, but it only cuts out a few berries at a time, and I would have to crank my broken Big Shot over and over again. I thought it would be so much easier to just use my office hole punch for this. And they are the perfect size. And I'll use whatever scrap paper I have to make my little faux berries. On the little houses that I made beforehand, I just used scraps of gold cardstock. Adding little dots of glue to the wreath, and now I will just take my little hole punches and then just add them to the wreath. They look really cute. This paper has a little bit of it's like a plum colored cardstock with the gold foil. So they are perfect for the look of little berries for the wreath. You can also use, if you don't want to punch out little holes, you can also use sequins. You can use different colored sequins. You can also use flat back gems. That would be cute. Or even small buttons. Oh, that would be so cute. I think I'm going to make a little wreath with some buttons. I think that will be so cute. So just so many different ideas. Go through your stash. Go through all of your embellishments and create your own little wreath. I also made, don't forget, I made some wreaths. In fact, I have a video where I show you how to DIY your own little wreath using those tiny handheld punches and just grouping all of your little punches together. I have a video showing you how to do that. So many different ideas, so many different ways. There's always more than one way to create something. And, I'm sure that you watching this, it may spark new ideas, and that's what we want. I'm using a heavy duty glue to attach the burlap. I'm almost out of this ultimate glue, which I love when it comes to gluing down heavier embellishments. This is like a super white glue. It is my favorite adhesive. It dries clear and it's thick, and it works well with heavy embellishments, but also metal, glass, clay, plastic. It's a great glue, and I am down to almost nothing. I'm going to use some of this, it's like pom-pom trim, but those little pom-poms look like little snowflakes, and it'll look so cute on the eave of that roof. I know that I also grabbed this other trim. You can kind of see it on the lower right-hand side, but this one with the little pom-poms I thought would be perfect. And I'm just going to glue it down to the edge. If you watch the very first video that I ever made showing you how to make the little house envelope pockets, I didn't even use any pom-pom trim. I actually made my own little wonky embellishment for the eave out of just paper, which I cut in like a little wonky wave scalloped design. It was so cute. So if you don't have trim, you can make your own little faux pom-pom trim by just cutting out some scallops on a strip of paper. The playlist will show you so many different tips and techniques and provide you with lots of ideas for embellishing your little houses. On the roof of my little house is this large snowflake, which is there to mimic the look of a fireplace. These are very old, close to my heart paper snowflakes. I have had these for a long time. I used to have tens and tens and tens of these, but this is the last of these paper snowflakes. And I'm going to add a little star, a little sticker, gold sticker star to the very center of the snowflake. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of glitter to the snowflake as well. I thought it needed a little bit more shine, a little bit more pizzazz. I could have left it as it was, but I don't mind working with glitter, and I love all things gold. Gold foil, gold shine, gold sequins, gold paint, gold, all the gold things. And I'm going to show you how I add my glitter. I do it in a way so that the glitter isn't quite as messy and it doesn't fall off. There isn't as much fall off as there would normally be. And I'll show you what I do. There may still be fall off. I'm not saying that my method will 100% prevent fall off, but it will help. That's just in case you don't like working with glitter. But I don't mind. So I am going to, let's see, there is a step that I kind of do backwards, and I can't remember which one it was, but you'll see because when I get there, I'll show it to you. Okay, I'm going to now work on the glitter for the snowflake. I'm going to take some Mod Podge. This is Mod Podge that I just added to an empty glue bottle. And now I'm going to take some gold glitter, pour it over the Mod Podge, which is just like a diluted white glue. And I'm going to mix in the gold glitter into the Mod Podge, basically creating glitter glue. That's what I'm doing. I'm making my own DIY glitter glue. And by doing this, it makes it so that the glitter is now mixed in within the glue, and when it dries on your project, it won't flake off as easily. Adding a little bit more glue, and you know, when it was all said and done, it turned out really cute because the Mod Podge dries clear and the glitter was still able to show through and give that nice little shine, that sparkle that I wanted. I'm going to add a little bit of the glitter glue on the ends of the snowflake. I also did this on a piece of white scrap paper. This way, when I'm done, there's less cleanup. I just take that scrap piece of paper with the leftover glitter glue and I can just dispose of it. But I do end up using most of it. This was the easiest way for me to apply the glitter. The very first one that I did off camera, I actually brushed on the glue onto the snowflake and then I dusted the glitter over that. But I made a crazy mess and I thought there has to be a better way. And I know that I have glitter glue somewhere because my granddaughter loves working with glitter glue and I have glitter glue special for her. But I couldn't find it. So I made my own and it worked out great. And then adding a little bit to the center, and I'm really just kind of just dabbing it on there, no rhyme or reason. If you do not like working with glitter, you can obviously skip this step. You do what makes you happy. I went shopping with my middle daughter Devin on Saturday, which was Small Business Saturday. By the way, I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. It is now a tradition where my daughters and I will go shopping on Small Business Saturday. That was a tongue twister there. And we go to all of the local shops that we love and we'll get coffee from our local coffee shop. And then we usually end the evening by eating at one of our locally owned restaurants. And that's what my daughter Devin and I did, along with my granddaughter Victoria. It was just the three of us this year. My youngest daughter couldn't make it. My oldest daughter couldn't make it. But the three of us hit the road and went to all of our favorite shops. There was one shop that we love. I've talked about it so many times. It's called La Petite Maison, and that is in Salt Lake County. We went there because they have the most beautiful Christmas ornaments. The owners love traveling to France, and they're big on French antiques, and they always bring back some of the most beautiful antique pieces, and also lots of paper ephemera, French receipts, French, documents, vintage documents. Anyway, I bought some gold glitter garland that she had. It was so beautiful, but I got glitter in my eye. Trying to get that glitter out of my eye. Oh, my eye bugged me it bugged me for a while, but finally was able to clean it out. So I can understand why some of you may not like working with glitter because it does get all over the place. But man, the look is so beautiful. Like, I love the look of glitter more than I dislike working with glitter, if that makes sense. The next thing, I'm going to add a little sentiment to the roof. These are Tim Holtz sentiment stickers. Some of these are from 2023 and others are from last year, 2024. And I may still have a link in my Amazon storefront. I'll have that for you down below. But any sentiment will work. Any type of sentiment. And of course, the sentiment is always optional. We also went to Jamie Ray Vintage. Jamie Ray Vintage, she is on YouTube. And she loves repurposing and painting thrifted furniture. So we went to her shop, which is in the same town where I live, and it's actually just down the street from my house. So we went there and picked up a few things. She's got so many great things. I love all of her thrift finds that she upcycles and paints. She also has her own line of Jamie Ray vintage paints. Anyway, her shop, it's a little vintage shop boutique. We love going there. In fact, her shop is where I find the antique postcards. that I just included in the last 4 journals that I completed. Those journals included Christmas postcards that were over 100 years old, and I find them at her shop. Oh, this is the step that I kind of almost forgot. So I had to go backwards. You know how I mentioned that I needed to wrap washi tape around the top edge of the pocket? I almost forgot to do it. So I am going to do it and try to be very careful so that I don't knock off my snowflake chimney. I'm going to measure 2 pieces of this silver washi tape that I'm going to wrap around the pocket. This is really pretty washi tape. I've had it for a really long time. It has a lining to reveal the sticky part, but it's kind of old, and so it's not as sticky as it once was. See, so I dropped one of my little chimneys, but I will just attach it and be more careful. Normally, I add the washi tape right after I do the scrapbooking paper on the facade. That's usually when I add the washi tape, but I completely forgot. I'm adding a little bit of glue to the very top part of the pocket to hold down the washi tape because it doesn't have any more sticky. But I love this silver glittery washi tape. And I'm going to wrap it around to the other side. This reinforces that top edge. It makes it look pretty, but it also reinforces the sides so that when you open the pocket, it won't split the sides open. So the washi tape reinforces it. Adding more adhesive to make sure it stays in place. And then just carefully wrap it around. It would be so much easier had I done it in the very beginning. The glue is still wet where I attach the snowflake, so I know that I can easily reattach it. One of the other stores that we went to on Saturday is called Renew Redo Vintage Market, and that one is in American Fork, Utah. And another great shop. It's like a little antique DIY vintage little market, which I absolutely love. There's a lot of different booths and vendors in there, and you can find everything from vintage little golden books, vintage decor antiques, what else? Paint and candles, all kinds of, it's a little vintage market, so many great things. That was Devin's first time being there. I think when we went shopping last year, we ran out of time and couldn't make it there. There's never enough hours in the day for all the shops we want to go to. And we started about noon on Saturday and we ended at 9 o'clock at night, you guys. 9 hours of straight shopping. And, you know, we could have kept going. It was so fun. We also went to go eat at a locally owned Vietnamese restaurant in the city of Draper. It's called You and I Kitchen. Oh, it was so good. The weather was nice and cool, so we had some pho, and that pho just hit the spot. It was so delicious. I know. I just want to eat soups right now. I just want all the soups. I worked today, and so when I came home, I just wanted some soup. I either wanted chili beans or chicken noodle soup, but I also was craving a Mexican soup called albóndigas. Oh my gosh, I was craving albóndigas. It is a super delicious meatball soup. Oh, if you know, you know. So good. But nope. I had leftover, Thanksgiving leftovers is what, I had Thanksgiving leftovers and a quesadilla. I know, pretty random, but yes, that's what I had, quesadilla with my turkey. But that's it. There are no more leftovers. It was so good. Here are my little house envelope pockets. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this. You guys are awesome, and I will see you next time. Bye.